Hey everyone, third time's a charm, maybe. We'll see here. Uh, I don't know if this is going to work. Everything got updated, new firmware on the hotspot, full power cycle on the laptop, and I don't honestly don't know what else to do. Totally rebuilt the live stream, so going as quick as we can here with everything we've got. I'm gonna see how long this lasts. The worst part is if it doesn't work, I just pull the intake off and pull the wiring and redo it again. Oh, okay. We got chat here. Hey, Liz. Looks and sounds good. Okay, so we have normal audio and video on that end, and the chat is working, and hopefully the stream is working too. Sorry, you guys. It's the tech stuff is just super pain in the ass when it's just you. So since I'm alone. By the way, I saw this earlier. And don't look at what they look like. Just read Mike and Ike root beer float. It looks like poop. But I saw these when I was picking up Rockstar, and I had to have them. So we will do a taste update later. I didn't know they made root beer float Mike and Ike's. So have something for the flight home. Last night we did the water inlet and the crossover, and now we can put the intake on. We stored the intake on there last night. So one of the you still have Mike and Ike's. Yeah, they were like when we go to the movies, they were kind of a standard thing that we got. You got the Pepsi that came in the huge bucket, and then you got a thing of Mike and Ike's and a box of Whoppers. And what else did I get? Oh, Junior Mints. Those are my three. Go to the movies. Anyway, we stored the intake on there. I went through the manual, and it was kind of odd. There is no bolt tightening sequence for the bolts on the intake. For some reason, I thought there was. I know there is on Miata. I know there is on a lot of other engines. But for the 1MZ, there's not a sequence. But what I'm going to do, just from knowing from working with aluminum and working with these engines, I'm going to do a Nautilus, a center out sequence. Just it's cast aluminum on machined aluminum. If the cast spreads out, it should be okay. If you crank down on one side and then crank down on another, you risk folding it, and that's bad. You don't want to fold cast aluminum. Same thing if you just do the center, you do the one side, you can unfold the other side. So we're just going to do a Nautilus pattern, a spiral, whatever you want to call it. And that should keep us pretty safe. And also we're dealing with, again, 11 foot-pounds. I'll show you guys let me grab the manual here. So here's from the service manual. And you can see my nails are way too long. But you can see right here, there's no sequence. They don't tell you any sequence. They just say tighten them down. And they say to go to 11 foot-pounds. So that's what we're going to do. By the way, if you don't have the service manual for the 1MZ-FE, you can either get it from Toyota dealerships, or there might be a version online. You never know. There's probably a version online. And it's probably a PDF, and it's probably very handy and very helpful to have, especially if you're doing rebuilds or if you're doing a swap like this. Very helpful. So thanks everyone for stopping by tonight, and I apologize for the previous ones. Honestly, I'm going as quick as I can with what I've got. So let's get right into this because we've got wiring to deal with too. We have the fuel injectors that also have to be wired up, and we have a bunch of other wiring that's going to go underneath the plenum. The plenum is this big mamma jamma that's going to go right on top. So we're going to do a bunch of hoses, our fuel lines, and we're going to do the wiring for the injectors. And that's going to sort of put our wire harness kind of where we want it. And then we're going to have a lot of other stuff on the next live stream, plugging stuff in, like a lot of plug-in stuff, A lot of little hoses get connected, et cetera, et cetera. So let's just, I'm gonna pull the intake off because we just set it on there last night. So I'm gonna pull it off and I'll show it to you guys again. This is our intake. And we have it's covered here, so no dirt and stuff goes in there. See 3 on one side, 3 on the other. And we have our fuel rails up here. Left side and right side, or in our case, front and back. And this is our fuel pressure regulator. This is our, what do they call it, like the defoamer or debubbler or whatever it is. This is where our fuel connection goes in. This is an AN fitting. And this is custom made by me. Thank you very much. And that reeks of fuel. Ugh. Crossover for the fuel injectors. And that's why we have our FPR and our vacuum line. This is the air injection for cold start. This just helps get air and fuel into where it needs to go. And then our coolant to keep everything cool. So that's kind of it. So I'm going to take you guys over and we're going to do kind of an overhead view. I'll turn the light on and we can get cracking on this. Move to the top A. Try and do it as quick as possible because we've been screwing around with tech issues. So let me turn on the light because I won't be able to do that from this side. And to bring you guys in here, look at that dolly shot. I'm just kidding. It's on a big cart here. So hopefully you guys can see. You're probably not going to be able to see a lot of me, but you'll be able to see what we're working on here. Our intake gaskets are already on from our water pump, crossover tube, water inlet. We have our knock sensors in. Now, the one thing I am going to do is I'm going to put a zip tie here. Originally, there was a zip tie, but it got cut off when we pulled the intake off. So I'm going to put a zip tie here just to make sure this guy stays in place and doesn't bonk into anything or get worn. And you can see our knock sensors kind of down here in the valley. It would have been nice if they put them on the outside, but this is where they fit best, I guess. They're the engineers. So we have our water neck on, coolant line, crossover, and our other water inlet pipe over there. So we have our water taken care of. Now we just need to do our intake. Let me grab a zip tie really quick and get that guy safely secured where we want him. Where in the hell are all my zip ties? Oh my God. You go away for a couple of months, and you come back, and all of your shit is in totally different places. So when I do zip ties, I try and aim where they're going to be accessible when I need to cut them off and when I need to trim them. So if I do this guy like this, then he's going to be up against the water neck. If I do him this way, he's going to be up against the wire. So I'm going to do him this way. And another thing you can do, if they're at angles that you can't really reach, you can give them some bends like that. I don't know if you guys can see that. To help them go through where they need to go through. So this guy needs to go through here. He'll come up, zip tie. Something like that. Now, it doesn't have to be crazy tight. It just has to prevent it from getting pulled away. And then please, please, for the love of God, trim your ends. Don't leave the little danglies. And trim them straight, for Christ's sakes. Don't put a knife edge on them. If you cut them, hang on, I'm going to show you the worst way to cut them. Whoops. If you cut them like this, I will cut you. Please don't do that. For the love of God. What's going to happen is you're going to come into the engine bay and you're going to want to work on something and you are going to slice open your hand. Or someone else is going to slice open their hand. This is bad. Cut it off straight, people. 90 degrees. Just like that. It's not hard. You can do it with any of them. Please, for the love of God. I can't count how many times I've seen them knife edges like that. We have our shifter cables out of the way, fuel lines, coolant lines, everything's out of the way. Everything is under here that needs to be under here. Water neck's hooked up, lines are hooked up. We're gonna get our other injector wire out of the way. So now, we've also cleaned up the whole underside of this. So this guy's ready to go onto gaskets. Now in the 1MZ, you have 2 alignment posts. You have an alignment post up here at the top, right up here in the top corner, actually back top corner. Then you have one about halfway down, a third of the way down right here. Those posts get nuts on them. They do not get the regular bolts like this. Also, the intake bolts are different lengths. So I have another set over here for the ones that we pulled off. So the bolts, let me get these guys, different lengths. So make sure that you're using the correct length for the hole that you're going into. If it seems too tall, like it bottoms out, you need to use one of the small ones. Let's see, what else is in here? Yeah, with the zip tie. Oh God, that's so terrible. So if the bolt bottoms out before it gets tight, then you need the small one. Okay, that's the easy way to tell. And let's see, there's 4, 5 long ones and 4 short ones. Whoa, stay up there. Those are for the other intake. So, and then we have 2 nuts that go on here. And I know, Kev, you're such a nut. Okay. So, do this guy up here. This guy's the hard one. He's got that air injection hose in the way. There he goes. So we're all cleaned up here. And we can now torque all of these down because we don't need to get to anything here and we don't need to shift anything or have anything movable here. So sometimes you want it loose so you can lift up and slide a wire in or lift up and get a hose clamp on or something like that. For this, we're set now. We don't need to lift up on anything. As far as I remember, we don't need to lift up on any. I think everything's pretty much set. We didn't do our injectors. We didn't take them out of the original manifold, so we're not putting these back in. They're already torqued and they're already mounted. They're brand new injectors, pretty brand new. We've had 2 or 3 races on them. They're fine. So that's it. So yeah, let's get these guys screwed in and torqued down. Remember, always start these by hand just to make sure you're not cross-threading anything. Aluminum cross-threads so easily. So easily. It sucks how easy aluminum cross-threads because it's so great for engine components. And so many times you see stuff get cross-threaded and you're like, damn it. So make sure that all of your stuff threads in by hand. Some of it will have gunk on it. We might swap this bolt out because I don't think I like the gunk on that bolt. this bolt. There's crap in the threads. There it goes. Okay. Yeah, that bolt works a lot better. So there we go. If you want to check bolt sizes before you put the intake on, you can do that just by setting the bolts in there and seeing where they bottom out. If they bottom out and they're all level, that means you have the correct bolt size for the bolt hole. When you're doing it like this, you should have about 3/4 of an inch of thread, of bolt height available. About 20 millimeters, something like that. If you don't have 20 millimeters, then it's too short. So let's grab our, I believe he's a 12. And I wish I had my little zoomer, but I don't have my little zoomer. So we're gonna have to do all these by hand. Um, eh, eh. And once you've done enough of these, you can sort of feel when he starts to cross thread and stop and pull them out and clean the threads up. So these are just getting snugged up. They're not getting torqued, not yet. Obviously, this isn't a torque wrench. I'll give you a torque wrench tip too when we get to that. Okay, snugged up by hand. A lot of people are terrified of working on cars and breaking something or stripping something out. So I'll tell you guys right now, yeah, it happens. It does. You can break stuff. You can break a lot of stuff. It's pretty easy. But I can get another one of these. I can get another one of these. I can get another one of these blocks. I can get another one of those starters. So I'm not too insanely worried about it because I know that I can get another one. Just pushing these hoses out of the way. So if you break something or strip something out or whatever, there's a repair method or a replacement part available for it. So it's nice when, oh, see, that guy didn't go down all the way. Oh, he does. Never mind. It's the right bolt. He just got caught on something. And he's also a through bolt. He goes all the way through. So he has to be long. To break stuff it's okay. Can you imagine how much broken stuff is actually out there? I mean, the guys who build, just think about the guys who build like sprint cars. The guys who build sprint cars, they destroy stuff all the time, like literally every race. And they're getting a replacement manifold, or they're getting replacement valve covers, or a new block, or a new starter, new engine mount, whatever it is. If you break it, you can get another one. You just need to remember what caused the break and make sure it doesn't happen again. That's the trick. That's the big trick. But don't be fearful of taking this stuff apart and inspecting it, see how it goes back together, and then putting it back together. It's okay. It really is, I promise. Think of it this way. It was all apart at one time before. All you're doing is taking it apart and putting it back together again. You're just doing it once more. And most of this stuff is designed to go again. Unless you're dealing with crazy exotic stuff like F1 cars or like, a T50 or something like that, where parts are probably one off or two off. You want to be careful with shit like that. But with stuff like this, it's okay. Take the valve covers off. See what it takes to take the valve cover off, inspect the valve cover gasket, and put it back on. That's a simple thing. Helps you get over your fear. Same thing with the fuel injectors. Everyone's like, oh, fuel injection. These rails come off 2 bolts, lift off with the fuel line when you do both rails because we have a connector tube here. They lift straight off, and then your injectors will stay inside the fuel rail. There's just O-rings that hold them in there. And then, they lift out of the intake manifold, clean up in there, put them back in, torque these guys back down. You basically replaced injectors. It's one of those things. Don't be afraid of doing that. You're going to have a lot more fun with your vehicle if you know that you can replace the injectors. Like, hey, I can replace injectors in a 1MZ, no problem. I can pull the plenum off. I can do the water neck and crossover tube, no problem. I know how to do all that stuff. So I watch all these cool videos from this guy named Kevin. Got to give myself a thumbs up on that. So now we can torque all these guys down. And I will get you guys, I need an adapter, and all of my adapters are all over the place. Nothing is where it was. By the way, it is brought to you by Rockstar. All right. So we looked at our manual and it said 11 foot-pounds, right? We're going to power up our torque wrench. Maybe. There it goes. It's a digital torque wrench. It's from Quinn. And we're at 11 foot-pounds. Like I said, we're going to start at the center and work our way out. So I'm going to try and find the centermost. Oh, this guy didn't crank down all the way. I missed him because the damn tape was in the way. So I'm going to start with him. I guess it doesn't really matter. I'm going to start with him and then work my way around. Again, the manual said it was okay. And it'll start. It'll go beep, 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 beep. That means you're getting close. And then when it goes beep on a solid beep, that means you've reached your number. Getting close. So there's 11. There you go. And let's come over and do this guy down here. Just being careful on the first round. Now, another trick with torquing, it doesn't matter how long of an extension, if you have a straight extension on here, it doesn't matter how, it can be 5 feet long. You're still going to get the same torque number. It starts getting different when you add different types of extensions. So if you have a universal joint extension, that will change your torque number. If you have a wobble extension, that will also change your torque number. So try to stick with as straight as possible. If it's short, that's fine. If it's a foot long, that's fine. But just remember, straight, it's going to be the same torque number all the way around. Did we get this guy yet? I don't think so. These monster shifter cables. So there's 11. We'll double check him. Whoops. There's 11. Back up here. There we go. And then we got this guy. So got this, got that guy. Yeah, let's come back up here. Actually, let's go down here. We're just trying to spread out the bolting down so that it doesn't crease that cast. Okay. We'll come back over here. Toyota's pretty good about access to stuff, but they do rely a lot on little tiny Japanese hands, Asian hands. So when you have big fumbly hands like I do, it makes it a little more difficult. So we're at 11 there. Okay, and then let's come back over. Did we do this guy already? Yep. So let's come back over and do this. I'll try to be careful of the car, but fortunately, it's just plastic bumping into it. Okay. And then come up to this. Now, when we come up to these guys, we got to make sure the rubber doesn't touch it, because the rubber will change the torque on it. So we get close, and then we'll make sure the rubber stays out of the way. There we go. And got that guy, got that guy, got all those guys. We did this guy already? Yep, he was one of the first ones we did. So we got to come up and do this guy. Oh, we did him already. Well, let's come down here and do this guy. Did we do him already? Yep. So let's come down and do this one. When I get to beeping, I'll get the rubber out of the way. Double check. Okay. And then okay. I think we are done with all these. So now I'm just going to go, since we're all torqued down, I'm just going to go across the top and then go across the bottom and just double check that everyone beeps. Okay. And this is really hard, leaning over the trunk of the MR6. But it's a good leg workout. Oh, this guy. He got loose. Okay. This is why we double check stuff. That guy got loose too. That can happen when you tighten stuff up. Other ones will get loose just because things will sit a little different. And we're all good on the top. So let's check the bottom now. That guy had a little turny in him. That guy had another quarter turn in him. Now, if you have an intake manifold bolt loose, you probably have an intake manifold leak. And you will be down on horsepower. And you will be using a ton of gas. So, come on. Okay. This is so weird being off balance. Okay. There we go. We're all torqued. Yay, happy. I know I have this weird habit of putting tools away when I'm done using them. I know that's very odd for this shop. I think because I'm the only asshole who does it. What do we got here? Hey, temp user, if you got to do it all over again and we're in your 20s, what car would you get? NA Miata. I'll just do I'll do a picture for you guys since you can't see me. 1997 Miata. So, oh, stop helping me. So, the answer to that question, oh yeah, why would it show up? The answer to that question is right there. You know what? That's the 1.8 versus 1.6 is a really, really good debate. And here's why. The 1.6 they use in Spec Miata, and those guys go to Hammer Town every weekend. Those guys rip. A lot of those guys will light up the 1.8 guys. Their engines are so badass. You want to see a Spec Miata engine, they're about 20 grand. Those things are built, and they're all 1.6s. They are insanely specific. That's why the 1.6 kicks ass, is because the Spec Miata engines, they are built to go hammer. The 1.8 is a great engine because you get a little more horsepower, you get a little more reliability, but you're not going to be in with the Spec Miata guys. They're going to smoke you. Sorry, that's just how it is. But the 1.8, I have a 1.8 in my Miata, and I absolutely love it. The 1.6, I've seen in other Miatas. My friend Haven has a 1.6 in her Conky. Absolutely loves it. It's a great engine. You can't go wrong with either one. You can't. So if you have the 1.6, you're going to have about 100 125 horsepower. And if you go with the 1.8, you're going to have 125 to 130 horsepower. That's it. That's where really the difference is. You're not, no major advantages. Now, when you get into the 1.8, you also get into the OBD2, which helps with diagnosis with the engine. So that's the other kind of nice part. 96, 97, 98, you get the OBD2, which is very helpful when you're trying to do stuff, or if you're trying to monitor engine stuff. That's really helpful. With the 1.6, you have the old paperclip OBD1, where you have to turn the key and then you watch the lights on the dash and 2 flashes, 1, 2 flashes, solid 2 flash, and then you have to decode it and all that shit. No. There's a place that actually sells an OBD1 reader, and it's a paperclip, and they sell it for like $6. It's very funny. They're picking between the 1.6 and the 1.8 is like going to the Playboy Mansion and trying to find the hot chick. Yeah, the 1.6 is great. The 1.8 is great. You're not going to lose. The reason you're not going to lose is because they're both in a Miata. That's why. You can put OEM daisies on a Miata and go track day, and you're going to have a blast. You can put 10-inch wide 949s on there, and you're going to have another blast. So throw on some coils. Get some of these BC coils. We have a bunch of overflow crap here. Get BC coils on it. Miata is the way to go. And also, if you want to learn cars and how cars work and engines and transmissions and all of that stuff, the Miata is the answer once again, because you can learn an entire fuel system. You can learn an entire transmission, an entire engine. Literally, I have a spare Miata engine right there. Take the engine apart, learn all of the stuff. All of the manuals are available, all the tech stuff. Plus, there's some super tech guys that have some really hot tricks that are all online. You can learn all the suspension stuff, all the steering stuff. It's not very expensive. compared to, if you're going to learn on a, Ferrari 488, you know, that's a little different lesson. Miata is great because then you can also, whenever you do those adjustments or modifications or whatever, then you take it out and drive it, and you're like, holy shit, this thing's awesome. It was awesome before. It's even awesomer. So, um, I live in California. Oh, yeah, yeah, um, yeah. That's a little different. California is a much different place. So, um, you need to shop for Miatas way outside of California. You got to go to Arizona. You got to go to Texas. You got to go to Arkansas, um, south of I-70, but above I-10, and before. I mean, I don't know how far east you want to go. Getting a California Miata, you want to talk about neutered? They're great cars, and then they have all that carb shit on them, and you have to delete all that stuff, and it's a huge mess. And then you have to get it inspected, and I don't know the rules in California. I don't know what the cutoff date is, but I know they're going to be assholes about it. If you take in a really nicely built Miata, like if I took my Miata in to one of the carb inspection places, they'd probably lock me up. They'd probably put me in jail. So you have to be very careful in California. There's a lot of Gestapo out there, and the troopers are just looking, for reasons to pull guys over. Oh, he's got a nice car. Let's pull him over. Oh, you have an aftermarket exhaust. Well, hands behind your back. Yeah, nobody wants that shit. So that's the hard part about California is, getting those cars that are super, super, super kick ass, but you still have to play by their rules. So there are Miatas, decent Miatas out there, under 10 grand, not with a hard top. There's decent Miatas with a good soft top, under 10 grand. They're not in California, and they're probably not. Who else is high as shit? Oregon, Washington, everyone's high up there. Yeah, okay. But that's in California, you're not going to find it. That's why I say go to Texas, go to Arkansas, go to Missouri, remember, stay south of I-70. So Tennessee, Alabama, Mississippi, Georgia. Georgia would be a good score. South Carolina would be a good score. Florida, and I mean, all those states will have good ones. I wish I could help me, man. The California thing is hard. That's a hard one. That's a hard one to get past. But I mean, it's a beautiful state. I go out to Anaheim every year for an event, and I mean, the weather's absolutely perfect. So I see why people are out there. But man, everything else, the whole car culture is fantastic. But you have to play by all those rules, and it's brutal, man. It's absolutely brutal. I feel for you, man. I feel for you, temp user. It doesn't say your name, so I have to go by temp user. All right, let's get some stuff plugged in. There's so much stuff to plug in. And I also need to be cognizant of our coolant lines. We have a water temp sensor over here that's going to be part of that. Now, our wire harness, you can tell our wire harness has seen some heat and some rubbing. So I might, before that gets mounted, I'm going to throw some tape on there. So we have one of our injector. This is our 3-pack for our injectors, and they go up there, and he's going to go underneath this tube and over, because this mounts, I don't know, which side is he on? He might be this side. I have to, this stuff catches on everything. So we have our MAF, our transmission, all of our other stuff. This mounts, of course, he's connected right here. He goes underneath, and he mounts on Does he mount on the plenum? Now, of course, this stuff hooks on everything, right? Does he mount on the plenum, possibly? I'm trying to remember. This guy mounts on the... What do we got here? We have our coil packs. Those are our coils. They're about to fall away. So they're hooked on everything over there. So our 3 coils go up here, and then our 3 go back here on, and then we talked about the wasted spark. So let's make sure we have these guys all wired going to the same correct spot. We have our fan switch, which is over here. This guy goes here. So these are going to be our 3 injector wires for over here. Where are our injector wires for that side? That is the question. Are they on this end? They might be. No, because those are all for the intake. So now I just need to find my injector wires for that side. And I don't know where they are. Except they're right here. Okay. So I'm going to move to this side of the car because to the end, because it's so difficult. What do we got here? Hey, everyone. Yeah. So we have our 3 injector wires here. These guys were hiding on me. These are my 3 injector wires for the top side. We also have our 3 coil pack wires, which go up here as well. So all this stuff's going to get plugged in. So this guy gets routed underneath here. Now, if I needed to, I could pull the coolant hose, but this is pretty simple and straightforward. And these injectors, they don't have a lock on them, but they do have, you can get them with the lock on. I think I pulled them off when I originally did this. You can get them with the safety lock on here, but I'm pretty sure I removed the safety lock. So it's just a click. They just click into place. Click, and he's not going to pull out. The safety lock helps prevent them from pulling out again. So fuel injectors up top are set. We will, I don't know why our coil pack is at a funky angle like that. There we go. That's better. And make sure these guys are seated all the way down. We'll tighten up these coil packs too. Like I said, there's a lot of wiring that has to get hooked back up. Once you get the big components in, then you have to get the wires hooked back up to where they go. And so let's hook these guys up. He's on. He's on and clicked. And our last guy, he's on and clicked. Now, you remember what I talked about before with the wire harness, how the spacing is already kind of set? Here's what I'm talking about. Like, if you put this injector plug over here, this one wouldn't reach either of the other ones. So it kind of lays itself out for you. Hopefully that kind of makes sense. Like if I tried to pull this plug up here, then what the hell am I going to do with these two? I got 2 more injector plugs. Oh, he goes back here. Or if I put this here, there's no way for me to reach him over there. So they're already kind of set up to run that way. And this guy actually has a little mount that he goes on right there. So there's injector 1, injector 3, injector 5. So yeah, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So our injectors are back on. We have our fan switch, which can come on the far side here. He hooks up to our fan switch that we actually don't use, but we'll put him back together. He's part of the ECU stuff. So on this side, then the only thing we have is these guys, which trying to remember where this guy goes. He is a boot. These guys go down to where do they go down to? They go down underneath the car. These are the timing camshaft and trying to remember these off the top of my head. One of them is camshaft. This one is oil pressure. I can't remember what these guys are, but they're plugged in down in the front, and this actually follows this. It follows the timing belt cover down. He goes into, it might be, no, he's not coolant temp. He's not coolant pressure. I can't remember what the other plug is for, but he's on there. Injectors are plugged in. This side of the harness is set. For now, we're clear with all this. I do want to get some tape, which is French for tape, on this because it's been rubbing and it's also old and I don't want it to rub through to anything. So I'm going to clean my hands up. Give me a second, you guys. I'm going to clean my hands up. We're going to get some nice cloth tape on here that's going to help protect that. It'll only take a minute. I just need clean hands to do it. That's just one of those things that happens when you're pushing the car really hard. The old plastic kind of, I don't want to say eats itself, but it wears and wears and wears and wears some more. Then there's some wear. And now I get to find out where my cloth tape went. All right. Once again, I'm looking around in the shop for where my stuff was, and it was there for 10 years. Now it's not there. So let's see if it's not in there. Oh, man. Oh, wait. No. And, oh, I do have some good stuff, though. Wait, what are you? And what are you? Oh, yeah. Okay. That's Tommy tape. That's not going to work. Okay. Yeah, this is, okay. This will work good. And better than cloth tape, and I'll get rid of this stuff, too. This is Gorilla tape. This stuff's super thick. Super thick. So my hands aren't very dry. And I'll need scissors to cut this because it rips like hell. Oh my God, my scissors are back where I left them. It's amazing. So we're gonna do a couple of laps of this just to cover up this broken plastic stuff. Of course, with wet hands, I can't grip any of this, right? And just for grins, I'm give ourselves a better grip on this. Even though this Gorilla Tape grips really well. So let's start on, oh, there's the factory tape there. Let's start on this side. He's going to be on the underside. So yeah, let's just start right there. Now we're not doing a wire loom, so I don't need this to be super tight. I just need him to cover and hold that. Protect those wires. Oh, this is so hard to do. All right. From getting rubbed through. Oh, look at that. That looks really nice. Okay. This Gorilla Tape has some serious adhesive. And when it gets hot, he's still really good. Don't know about the durability, but we will find out. Right? And we have our wires protected again. I'm just running the reverse lap. If I have enough Gorilla Tape. Yeah, this adhesive is no joke. Just talked to my buddy Nick about using it on the airplanes that he works on. That's supposed to be funny. But they do actually have tape specifically for aircraft. Stay up here. So, actually, let's bring him up to the top edge. Yeah. I'm balanced on one foot with my elbow right there. So that's why he does that. Because I'm using this harness as counterbalance. So yeah, is it OEM? Nope. But when we flip it over, he looks pretty darn good. And our wires are going to stay very protected. Now we have a O2 sensor here. We have a ground that goes right there. So I know exactly where this guy goes. There's another ground over here somewhere. This guy goes there too. So we can put both of these guys on. This is one of our chassis grounds. Let's put that guy through there. Big one in the back. Okay. There we go. The other thing we want to do is all the stuff that's under here, the plenum is going to come up and go right here, and our throttle body is going to go right there. So anything that's under here, we want to do this guy. We definitely want to do our coils and get those run. Those will come up here. So now the coils are the same way. They're set up in 3 different lengths. So you can tell which one goes where. This coil goes here, and then the longest one goes the furthest away. That's how the coils are set up, which is very convenient. Pop those guys in, make sure they're on the spark plug that's all the way down there. Now this guy comes up and I'm trying to remember, he doesn't go over the hose. He goes under. Yeah. And these guys, again, are the same way. They're set up by length. So this is the shortest one, medium, and then long. So it'll go like this when they go. Yeah, they do. They go over top because they come, and I can sneak them down underneath. The other thing, if you ever go to the junkyard, get these covers. These are great. These plastic covers, you'll find them on any 1MZ. They break all the time. They're not very resilient to heat, but they're retainer clips and they're great for retaining the plugs onto the coil packs. He's on there. And one more. And on the race car, the one thing we got to be very careful about is watching, keeping out of the way of the fire suppression system, not only here, but also in the cabin. The fire suppression system is super important. Here we have it pointed right at the fuel because if fire is going to happen, it's going to happen at the fuel. So we have it pointed right at the valley. It actually should be in a little bit like that. I think the shifter cables have moved him. He's just going to hose this whole thing off under here. Yeah, that's why we have that. I'd love to have another injector like straight underneath, but and then another one right there. Two more in the anyway. We have a really nice setup. It's very simple. So our coil packs are in, our coils, and we can turn these and get a little cleaner run. They don't care which direction they go. And then, yeah, I think they're supposed to zip tie to this as well. This is everything gets zip tied to the timing belt cover. So these will eventually get zip tied there. And I might run those coils underneath. I think I like them better. I think I like them better underneath. So let's just run those guys. It only takes a second. Now it's a huge endeavor once the plenum goes on. So, and I honestly don't remember. It's been months since I've done one, so I don't remember if they go under or over. But this is going to work well for me. Yeah. And then we put our keeper on. Do the next one. Put our keeper on. And you can feel these seat. You'll feel them kind of click in. Click. And then put our keeper on. The keeper kind of goes on one way. And it stays on there, stays on there. There we go. We have our wiring for basically everything underneath the plenum. Our main wire harness, we have our ground holding it up. All the stuff on the front of the engine, those two guys go down there. We have our fuel injectors. We have our coil packs. We have our coil wires at the front here. We're going to do 2 more lines. Sorry, maybe 3 more lines. This guy goes up here. We need to save a bunch of this wiring for when because it mounts to the plenum. So including this guy. So we'll save some of that. What I will run for you guys tonight is we can run this coolant line. And there's 2, where's our return? This is our fuel return line. This is a vacuum line, which he goes to the plenum. This is not our fuel return line. Where's our fuel return line? That's our clutch. Here's our fuel main line. So we'll do the fuel main line really quick. Now I've adapted this from OEM. And these are covers. I'll tell you what these guys are because they're great. And especially for fuel and brake stuff. Wow, this guy molded to the shape. I'm glad I still have my nails. Barely get them off there. That's a good seal. So we have this is a dash 4 AN, 45-degree angle with a swivel fitting. I know you guys don't really care about that, but these are thread protectors. You get these at the hardware store, and they're great for when you have a line that's open. You can put those on there. Same thing. This is not a thread protector. This came with something else, but you can use thread protectors on there to seal those up temporarily. You can use them on brake lines too. This guy comes in, and again, since he's aluminum, he gets tightened by hand. And then we use an AN wrench. I'll show you guys an AN wrench. And we're probably going to do him on and off a couple of times. This is my 4. AN wrenches are excuse me, my dry throat. They're aluminum. And they work with this guy. Oh, he's the 5/8. It's the next one up. Sorry. Yeah, sorry, he's a 6. He's not a 4. These obviously I got from Jags. And AN line, there's a whole history on it. You can look it up on Wikipedia. Stands for Army Navy. And it was to simplify connections for hydraulics and fuel and water and everything else across military platforms. And there's another one that's kind of like this. AN, I'm trying to remember. AN is 37 degrees. No, AN is 45 degrees. And JIC is 37. JIC is similar, but not quite the same. So what you do with AN fittings, and I'll probably go over this a couple of different times, is you do them finger tight. So you snug it down, then you give it a quarter turn. And I'm just going to hold this fitting because I want it to stay in this position. Quarter turn, you're maxed out, you're done. Why do you only do a quarter turn? Because it is a 45-degree metal on metal like connection. So once you have that metal to metal seal, it's very difficult for anything to get past there. Very difficult. That's why they're great for high pressure lines, because you're not using rubber. You're using metal on metal, and it is a super, super tight seal. AN fittings are awesome. AN hose is awesome. Make sure you get the stuff for fuel. This is a great way to do it. Really, really, really great way to do fuel lines, to do hydraulic lines. AN fittings is the way to go. Here's the catch. You can spend a shitload of money on AN fittings and AN hose and adapters and all this stuff. It will get very expensive very quickly. So be careful. They look great. They work great. They're super convenient, but you can spend a ton of money. A ton of money. So now I got to find my coolant lines. So I have my one coolant line here that's supposed to go up to my red guy. I don't know where. I have another coolant line for this. I just don't know where he is at the moment. I think he might have. No, there's our outlet. Where the hell did he go? Anyway, we'll find him. So yeah, that goes to IC. There'll be a blue hose that connects to this, and I don't know where he's at. He's not back down here. Anyway, we got to save something for when we get the plenum on here, right? So I'll just give you guys a little sneak peek on the plenum. These are the two plenum bolts, and there's two plenum nuts. That's all that holds it on there. But these guys are cranked down a little further. They're like 39. It's our breather. It's our intake gasket. Nice metal gasket. So our plenum and throttle body is this piece. You can see this is heavy. Throttle body here, and this is our intake plenum. The plenum splits it between 6 different ports, and he goes on something like that. Now, when the plenum goes on, we've got vacuum lines, we have electrical connectors, we have a whole bunch of other stuff, way more stuff than when we did this. And I need to change this and angle it more this way. We have our throttle connection that we obviously have to hook up because right now he's bumping into the fuel line. So we'll do a lot more stuff when we get the plenum on here, and I'll get the rest of the coolant hoses. We have another connector here for temp sensor. So let me pull this out over here. Oh my gosh. It's so hot. It's reasonably heavy, but it's being at that funky angle leaning over. So hopefully this was yeah, see, he's a swivel fitting. Oh, part of the problem is this guy's going to be underneath him. So yeah, he's going to be something like this when we're finished. He'll be somewhere in there. Something like that. And then I got to find the return line. I don't remember where he's at. He might be down with the other coolant line. So we'll find him. Again, this goes to throttle body. This goes to throttle body. There's a hose coming out. No, there's not. Oh, this is part of the breather. So yeah, there's a few other connections that we have to do. We have another huge ground wire here that has to go over here. And we have to do our intake tube, our MAP sensor, all of that. And then I also have to come back here and plug the ECU back in. It's been unplugged because we unplugged the battery. We had everything, all the electrical was out of the way. Nothing was touching anything else in electrical. I didn't want to do any damage to the ECU. ECU in this car is in the trunk. And half of our wiring comes through here, the other half comes through here, and we have it all wired. And this is you can see, okay, this will drive you guys crazy. On the passenger side of the vehicle, the air comes in through the vent on the passenger side, goes through the fender, comes through this tube, comes down here, comes all the way through this tube, all the way over to the driver's side. The air cleaner is right here, just off camera, comes in here, and then it comes to our intake tube, comes up and goes to our throttle body. So it starts way over there, goes all the way around the trunk, all the way through the bulkhead, comes up and goes to the throttle body. It's pretty crazy. But even guys who have cold air intakes don't show any horsepower gain. So not a big issue. It does actually help keep air away from the engine. The only big advantage we could do is if we did a roof scoop that came down, and there are guys who have roof scoops off the side of the C-pillars that come down and feed the engine. So we could do something like that, but it's okay. This car runs great without it. We have tons of horsepower. We're doing fine without it. So tomorrow we'll come back and we'll do the plenum and the rest of the connections, all the wiring, and the car should be ready to start up. Hopefully, maybe. I gotta get something to drink. So if you guys excuse me for 1 second here. Hmm. All right. So I'll zoom you guys back. So, yeah, that's where I'll tilt up a little. That's where we're at with the car. We have the intake in, and we have all the wiring behind the intake done, so we can put the plenum on, and we don't really have to worry about it. We do have on the bottom of the plenum, you can see we have this guy, and we also have this guy. We have two breather hoses that need to be. This guy's already attached. This guy needs to be attached. So those are the ones that are very, very difficult to access. This one's really hard to do. And then you try and do as many hoses and electrical connections as possible before you put the plenum on. The plenum, that's why I leave the throttle body on, because I kind of know where hoses bend and they're sort of pre-bent into place. I think we're pretty much ready, and I'll double check. I'll find the other hoses and make sure all the other connectors and stuff are ready to go. But that's it. Our intake manifold and our fuel rails are on, and we're all plugged in. So we couldn't run the car if we wanted to, but it would dump fuel. So we're part of the way there. And considering how many miles we have on this car, it's actually not as filthy as I thought it was going to be. So thanks everyone for hanging out tonight. I really appreciate it. Again, I'm terribly sorry about the technical issues. I will continue to work on that, and I'll get it as smooth as possible for you guys. So when we do fire up the live stream, it actually goes to the live stream. It doesn't stutter. It doesn't bomb out in the chat. I'll try and make it as smooth as possible. I'm doing everything on my end. I just hope YouTube has enough technical expertise to do it on their end. I really hope they do. I hope. So that's it for tonight. We'll get. I'm going to put these back. These are in my drawer called supplies. So here you guys go. Remember I was talking about those covers? I've got a ton of them, and all different sizes. So from different products that you get, sometimes they have these covers, and I got like little tiny ones. So you can use these to, obviously we use this one for painting, and keep a little bucket of these. They're great for sealing up lines when you don't want fluid leaking out or you don't want anything going in. They're great for just doing a temporary cover up. So yeah, tomorrow we'll do the plenum. We'll I'll try and get in here in the afternoon and get that done for you guys. There's so much other stuff while I'm here in Ohio. I have a billion other things that I'm trying to get done. So it's not that you guys are still my priority, but I do have obligations that I do have to take care of while I'm up here because it's a very limited time. So like replacing the fuel pickup in the Kubota diesel lawnmower. You guys probably don't want to see that. I might do that though. I might do that just for fun because I haven't done that before on the Kubota. So you guys will be learning with me. We'll stumble around together, just fumbling around, taking off gas tanks on gigantic zero-turn mowers. What's more fun, right? So yeah, thanks again for hanging out tonight, and all the new subscribers, everyone. Thank you guys very much. I'm glad you're enjoying this. If there is something you want to see, if you want to see a car in here or a truck or something specific, please let me know. Shoot me a message, shoot me a text. Let me know that, hey, I want to see, a C10, or can you do an oil change on a 2016 Jeep Cherokee? Sure. You mean the V6? Yeah, I'd love to. So yeah, we'll do regular stuff. We don't have to do hardcore race stuff. We don't have to install roll cages or anything like that. We can do regular stuff too. Just shoot me a message, let me know, and I'll do my best to get it in here. Same thing when I'm down in Florida. If there's something you guys want to see, let me know. I'll talk to my car buddies and we'll see if we can get it over and get a look at it. Again, thanks everyone for hanging out tonight. I really appreciate it. Thanks for your patience with the tech issues, and I promise it'll get better. Um, and don't forget to show someone that you love them today. Give them a kiss on the cheek, give them a kiss on the tip of their nose, hold their hand, give it a squeeze. It's really important for them, but it is far more important for you. All right. Thanks, everyone. I'm going to go eat some mac and cheese. See you guys. Mmm, mac and cheese.